Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Tunde Victor. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you guys how to edit children's picture using Capture One and Photoshop. Also, I'll be showing you how to transform your image from like this to something like this. So let's get started. So I already opened my image in Capture One. This is the Capture One interface. And the first thing I'm going to do, looking at this image, I want to bring back some details because I feel the details on the image is blown out, so I want to bring back those details. So what I'll do, I'll come to this exposure tab right here and I'll just come down. This is what I'm doing. I'll come to my high dynamic range. I'm just going to bring down my highlights all the way down. You can see we have some details back. And next thing I'm going to do, I'll bring down my white also, and I'll bring down my black, and I'm going to open my shadow a little bit. So this is the first thing I do when I'm using Capture One. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to come down and I'm going to push this my highlights inside a bit from here, inside, because I feel the image is too dark like this, so I just want to push it out, push it in a bit so it will be a little bit brighter. As you can see, this is how it is before. I just push it a little, just a subtle difference. That's it. And I'm going to push my blacks in also, just let's say about 3, like this. So I'm just going to show you guys my before and after. Let's see what we've done so far. So this is how the image was before, and this is how the image is right now. So this is where you see your before and after in Capture One. Just click on this before and after, and you can see, just move the slider here and you can see your before and after. After that, I'm going to try and crop the image. So I'll come to my crop tool right here, and I'm going to be using 4:5 because it's for Instagram. So I'm just trying to crop it. As you can see, I'm not getting the ratio somehow. If I copy it 4:5 in Capture One, I lose some information. Like if I just click on enter right now, you can see I already removed the head, and the image is no longer full. So I'm just going to undo that, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to crop this image in Photoshop. So right now I'm just going to open this image in Photoshop. I'm done with my Capture One, so I'm just going to come to the image. I'll left click here and I'll just put edit with Photoshop. Remember, edit with Photoshop. So I'm just going to click on edit with Photoshop, and you can see my my format is TIFF. I'll be using 8-bit because I don't have a fast laptop. So if you have a fast laptop, I advise you use 16-bit because it's the best. But since my laptop is not that fast, I'm going to be using 8-bit. So my option is on uncompressed. Make sure this place is on uncompressed because you don't want the image to be compressed, so put it in uncompressed. And my ICC profile is on Adobe RGB 1998. And my resolution is on 300, and my scale is on fixed and 100%. So just use my settings right here to get your own. And I'm just going to click on edit variant. So once I click on edit variant, the image is going to export to Photoshop right now. So we're just going to wait for it to export into Photoshop. Okay, now that we have our image in Photoshop, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to crop this image because I tried copying it 4:5 in Capture One and it's not working. So I'm going to copy it in Photoshop right now. So I'll just come to my crop tool right here, and I'll click on 4:5. I'll click on this ratio and I'll click on 4:5 right here. So the reason I'm using Photoshop because I'll just use my quartet aware to fill some areas that are not on the frame, like this black place. So once I click on my quartet aware, I'm going to fill those parts that was not in the frame before. So I'm just going to click on delete crop pixels. Make sure your delete crop pixels is checked and your quartet aware is checked. So I'm just going to click on OK. And once I do that, Photoshop is automatically going to fill these black spots for me. Those pixels there, Photoshop is going to fill it with the background layer for me. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to clean the background. So to do that, I'm just going to pick on my patch tool right here and just use my patch tool to clean the background a little bit. So I'm moving those lines in the background because I want the background to be clean. So this is how you clean your background. Just use your patch tool, make sure you're on normal, you're on source, and your diffusion is on 5. So just use my settings up there. So the next thing I'm going to do for this image, I'm going to be running my frequency separation, because it's the baby picture and it's a full portrait. What I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be using frequency separation radius of about 4. I don't want to use 3. If it's an adult, I'll use 3, but it's a baby's picture, I'm going to be using 4 for this particular image right here. If you don't know how to get the correct blur radius, I have a video for that, and I'll be leaving a link to that video in the description below. So I'm just going to remove the blemishes first. I'll come to my high frequency texture right here, this one right here. I'll pick my close stamp tool, and I'll just hold my alternate to sample from a close by area and brush over the blemishes like that. So this image doesn't have a lot of blemishes, so I'm just going to remove the ones I can see that are really obvious. Remember, just increase and decrease your brush according to the size of your blemishes like that. Use alternate to sample and just brush over. Use alternate to sample and just brush over. So I guess we are done. So the next I'm going to do, I'm going to be using my mixer brush to mix the colors on the image. So to do that, I'll come to my corrective tone, this empty layer right here, my corrective tone, and I'll turn off this high texture. So I'll just click on this eye icon right here and just turn it off. So I'll come to my brush, I'll pick my mixer brush. I'm using a soft round brush. I'm a custom. My weight is on 30, my load is on 30, my mix is on 20, my flow is on 20, and sample all layer is checked. So I just reduce my brush and just brush over the skin of the baby. So remember, just increase and decrease your brush according to the areas you want to brush over, and remember, brush your highlights separately and brush your shadows separately. So I'm just going to do that right now, and once I'm done, I'll come back. I'm going to forward this step right here. So what I'm just doing is simply brushing the highlights separately and brushing the shadow separately according to the shape of the baby's face. Remember, you can always check your progress. So to check, all you have to do is turn on this high texture layer icon on again to see what you are doing, and just turn it off and on to see if you make any mistake. And if you make any mistake, all you have to do is pick your eraser tool and just brush on that mistake you made. So I think we are done. So let's see our before and after. These are before and these are after. Let me zoom in so you can see. So these are before and these are after. The next thing I'm going to do, if you don't have this plugin, you can just skip it, but if you have it, all I have, the next I'm going to be applying portraiture. If you don't have the portraiture plugin, you can just skip it. It's still okay like that. Most photographers don't use portraiture, but I do use portraiture. So to do that, I'll just hold my shift and just click on my low texture and click on my low frequency color and tones and just merge them together. And to merge multiple layers together, all you have to do is click on Ctrl E to merge those layers together. So after that, I'll come to my filter, I'll come to my imagonic, and I'll come to my portraiture. So I'm just going to click on this skin right here, any part of the skin, and just click on OK. So let's see our before and after. These are before and these are after. These are before and these are after. You can see the skin is looking much more better. So the next thing I'm going to be doing for this image, I'm going to be using my eyes that hit whitening action, which I created, and I also have a video on how I create my eyes that hit whitening action, and also how you can create other actions in Photoshop, and I'll be leaving a link in the description below to that video also. So I'll just come to my action right here, and I'll click on my eyes that hit whitening action or I'll click on my F2 and it's going to open my as a teeth whitening action. So on that video I explained this more better, so make sure you go check out that video on how to create actions for Photoshop. So I'm just going to delete it again, and I'll go to my actions and I click on my as a teeth whitening actions. And I'm going to pick my normal brush, make sure my foreground color is on white, and just brush over the eyes like this. Now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to blur it. So I'll just come to my filter, I'll come to my blur, I'll come to my Gaussian blur. So I'm going to blur it by 2. I'm going to use a radius of 2 to blur it. You can see it's looking much more better, so I'm just going to reduce the opacity. I feel it's too white. Okay, it's good like this. So let's see our before and after. It's looking natural and it's looking so good. So after that, the next thing I'm going to do for this image, I'm going to be adding contrast to the image. So there's a multiple way you can add contrast to your image in Photoshop, but I'm going to be using the black and white adjustment layer to add contrast to the image. So I'll just click on my black and white and I'll double click on this empty place right here. So once I double click on this empty place right here, it's going to show me this layer style. So I'm just going to change my blend mode to soft light, and I'm going to come under my blend if option. I'll come to this underline layer. So I'm just going to hold my alternate to slice this sliders right here. So I'm just going to hold alternate to slice it. So once I click on my alternate and I click on here, you can see it has separated. So I'm just going to shift this one to the highlight. So once I shift it to this side, I'm going to click enter. So you can see before and after. If you feel the contrast is not too much, you can either duplicate the layer by clicking on Ctrl J to duplicate the layer, you can see, or let me just undo that, or you can come to your levels to add more contrast and move your highlights in and move your shadows in also to add more contrast to your image. So this is the before and this is the after, just a subtle difference. So what I'm going to do right, I'm just going to put these two in a group, and I'm just going to reduce opacity. So I'm just going to click on my control and click on my black and white, and I'm just going to click on Ctrl J to put them in a group, and I'm just reduce the opacity a bit like this. Okay, we are almost there. So the next thing I'm going to do for this image, I'm going to be color grading the image. So looking at this image, I don't think it even needs any color grading because it's looking so good like this, but I think the magentas in the image is too much, or rather the reds in the image is too much. So to get rid of those reds, all I'm going to do, you can use your hue saturation, or you can use your color, your selective color. So I'm going to be using my selective color for this particular image. So I'll come to my selective color, I'll come to my reds. I'm just going to bring the sliders, this cyan slider to plus 17, and you can see it as getting rid of those reds. So these are before and these are after. Those reds are no longer there, so I'm just going to leave it like this. So next I'm going to add vibrance to this image. So I'll come to my adjustment layer again, I'll click on vibrance. If you are not seeing adjustment layer here, you can also come to this place right here, just click on this place, and you can see your adjustment layer here also. So I'll just click on vibrance here, and I'm just going to add a little bit of vibrance to the image. Let's say plus 15. It's okay. Alright, we are good. So next I'm going to do, I'm going to add a little bit of brightness to this image. I feel the brightness is good already, but I'm just going to add a little bit using my curves adjustment layer. So you can either click on your adjustment layer. If you're not seeing your adjustment layer here in Photoshop, you can come down here, you can come to the bottom here and just click and I'm looking for my curves. So I'm just going to click on curves. So I'm just going to come to my default and click on lighter RGB. So once I click on that lighter RGB, it's really going to light the RGBs in the image. So I'm just going to reduce the opacity a bit like this. So these are before and these are after. So I'm just going to group all the color grading I did in one layer. So I'm just going to click on this first one, hold shift and click on this last one, or click on this first one, hold control and just click on them one after the other. So after that, I'm going to click on Ctrl G to group them. So once I group them in the folder, so these are before and these are after. So that's that for my color grading. I might come back to that later. So the next thing I'm going to do for this image, I want to change the background of the image because I feel the background is too plain and it's not making the image looks so good. Let me just add another fill to the image by changing the background of this image. So to do that, I'm just going to create a visible stamp layer. So to do that, all I have to do is click on Ctrl Shift Alternate E to create a stamp layer. So everything I did under here, everything I did here is going to be open in a new layer for me. After creating this stamp layer, I'm just going to duplicate it by clicking on Ctrl J to duplicate the layer. So I'm just going to, what I'm going to do, I want to cut the subject out of the background. I also have a video, I have multiple videos on how you can cut subject out of the background. I'll be leaving a link to few in the description below. Make sure you go check out the description below. There's a lot of videos that you have to watch. So to do that, I'm going to click on my quick selection tool right here. So once I click on my quick selection tool, I'm going to click on select subject. So once I click on select, you can see Photoshop automatically masks out the subject for me. Photoshop didn't do a pretty nice job, but it's a start. You can always start from here. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to use my polygonal lasso tool to select some parts that are not in the selection and to remove some parts that are not supposed to be in the selection. Like this place right here, inside a hand is not supposed to be in the selection because I'm only selecting only the subject. So to remove this part of the selection, I'm just going to hold alternate, and you can see this sign has turned to minus. So I'm just going to hold alternate to minus this place out of the selection. So I'm just going to carefully remove those parts I don't want. Make sure you're careful about it though, but for the sake of this video, I'm just going to rush it so you can just get my point. So I'm just going to do this like this, like this. Make sure you are taking your time to do this if you are retouching an image. So you can see I've removed out this place from the selection, and I want to remove this place also from the selection. I'm going to hold my alternate and just minus this place from the selection like this, like this, like this. Okay, you can see that place is out of the selection also. So I'm just going to do this for the whole image, and just if I want to add a place, like here right now I want to add this place to the selection, all I have to do is hold shift to add a place to the selection. So once I hold shift, I'll just add that place to the selection. So shift is to add and alternate is to remove. So just make sure you get the point. Shift is to add, alternate is to remove. That's all you need to know. So I'm just going to do this for the whole image, and once I'm done, I'll get back to you guys. Okay guys, I've successfully made the whole selection for the image. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add a layer mask. And so once I add a layer mask, this is how you add the layer mask. Just click on this layer mask icon right here, and you're going to add a layer mask. And once you add your layer mask, you successfully cut out your subject out of the background. So if I off the whole layer with the background, you can see there's many just the subjects in the background. So I'm just going to refine this subject, the edge of the subject to make it look more realistic. So to do that, I'm just going to double click on this my layer mask I added that the subject is right now. So I'm just going to double click it like this, and it's going to open on a new layer for me like this. So we have a properties layer right here. So first I'm going to do, I'll come to my global refinement. So I'm just going to smoothen the edge, and let me zoom in so you can see what I am doing. You can see the edge is looking so rough. You can see the edge is looking rough. So I'm just going to smoothen the edge like this. Let's say about 16. And I'll add a little bit of feathering to the edge and add a little bit of contrast to the edge like this. I'm just going to zoom out like this, and after that I'm going to click OK. So you can see the selection is looking more realistic and looking so right now. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to turn on my background layer on again, like that. So after doing this, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to be importing my background, the background I want to use. I'm going to be importing it into Photoshop. I can just come to my file right here. This is the background I want to be using. I can just click and drag it into Photoshop like this, or I can come to my file and I come to my place embedded, and I'll just look for where my overlay are. So I'll just look for where that overlay is. So I think I saved it to my desktop. So I come to my desktop and I click on my new folder, and this is the overlay I want to use. So I'll just click on place. You can see I've added the background to the image. So I'm just going to resize it and make sure it fits to the image the way I want it. So I think I like it like this. I think it's too big. I'm just going to reduce it a bit like this, and I'm just going to click on OK. And you can see the selection is not too perfect here, and to make the selection go even more perfect, all you have to do is come to your selection again, pick your brush. Remember, black brush hide, white brush reveals. So I'm just going to switch to my black brush and just paint over those white areas, and you can see those parts are gone, just like that. And if you feel you make a mistake like this, all you have to do is switch to your white brush and just paint it back like that. So I'm just going to do like that for the whole of the image. And remember, white brush reveals, black brush hide. So now you can see the image is looking so good. So I'll just come to my blend mode for this. I'll come to my overlay. This is my background. Let me just rename it background. So I'll just rename it background. So to rename, just double click on the name and just rename it to background. So I'm just going to come to my background. I'll change my blend mode. I think I'll change my blend mode to, let's see, multiply. I think multiply looks good, or let's say darken. I don't want to use soft light. If I use soft light, it will not look so good. You can see what soft light looks like. So soft light is not I don't like soft light for this particular image, so I'm just going to be using darken for this image. So just make sure you check your edge and see if there's any error like that. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, you can see the image is looking more better, but you can see the background, the flow of the image. There is no it's not working with the overlay. So I'm just going to add another overlay to the flow of the image. So I come to my file, I'll come to my place embedded, and I'm just going to click on this one right here and click on place. So once I place it, I'm just going to click on OK first. So I want to get rid of this the background, because all I need is just the flow. So to do that, I'll come to my polygon lasso tool. I'll just select this area I don't want, and I'll just make a selection of that area. I'll come to my brush, I'll click on my brush. It's going to show me smart objects, this caution right here. I'm going to click on OK. So once I click on OK, I'm just going to click on my backspace to delete. I click on my Control D to deselect. So I'm just going to make the selection good now. So I'm just going to resize it the way I want. So I think it's okay like this. Okay, I'm going to click on OK. So I'm going to zoom it to see if there's any error or any mistake, and I'm seeing some errors. But for this one, I'm going to change the blend mode. First, I'm going to change the blend mode. Let's just play with the blend mode and see which one works for this image. Not soft light. Okay, I'm going to be using hard light. I'm changing blend mode to hard light. I'm going to click on enter. So you can see, I think hard light makes the image looks even more realistic. So I'm just going to reduce the opacity and see. I'll leave the opacity. Let's see with the flow. Okay, I'll just leave it like this. I feel it's okay like this. So I'm just going to bring it up a bit, take it up a little bit like this. Make sure it fits with the image. I click on enter. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put these two in a new group. So I'll click on my Ctrl G to group them, and I'm going to come to my action and click on my digital noise. So I want to add noise to the background, so it will look more realistic. So I just added noise to the background. I'll hold my alternate and I'm going to clip it to just the background I added to make it look more realistic. So let me just zoom in so you see what I just did. So let's see, before the noise, after the noise, it's looking more realistic now. So next thing I'm going to do for this image, I want to blur the background. So I'll just come to my background layer again, and I'll just come to my filter, click on my blur, I click on my Gaussian blur, because I don't want the background to be all in focus. So I'm just going to blur it a little. Let's say I'll use a radius of about 3 to blur it, because I don't want it to be in focus like that or so much. So you can see it's looking more realistic like this. So another I'm going to do, I'm going to add noise to the general image. So I'm going to click on noise, and you can see the noise is above the whole layer, so it's going to affect the whole layer, and it's going to make it look more realistic, as if it was there before. So I'm just going to add one more overlay to this image. I'm going to be adding a bubble overlay to this image. So to do that, I'll come to my file again, I'll click on my place embedded, I'll click on my bubble overlay. I'm just going to click on my bubbles overlay. I'm just going to rotate it, let's say like this. I'm just going to resize it the way I want. Okay, I'm just going to resize it. Okay, I think like this is okay. I'm going to click on my OK, and I'll change the blend mode to screen. So once I change it to screen, so I'll just bring it all the way down below my selection. Okay, you can see the value is inside right now, so I'm just going to work on it again, just make it looks a little bit better. Let's say like this. Let me resize it a bit. I feel it's too big, it's too much, so I'm just going to resize it a bit like this. Okay, it's looking better right now. So I'm going to click on my OK. So I'm just going to group everything I just did so you can see the before and after. I'm just going to group everything. Ctrl G to group. So this is the before and this is the after. This is the after. So if you like this video or you learn anything from this video, please leave a like and leave a comment, and if you are new here, please hit on that subscribe button and click on the bell notification, and so you can get more video like this in the future. I'll see you guys in my next video.